Welcome, dear friends, to Kardec Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with the Spirit of Truth. The Spirit of Truth is this book published in 1961 in Brazil through the hands of two mediums, Chico, Xavier, and Waldo Vieira, in the city of Uberaba, the state of Minas Gerais, in the Brazilian territory. Yes, and several spirits, including Meimei, is here with us. Today, Meimei speaks to us. Meimei is this wonderful friend and educator of the beyond. She really cares especially about childhood. And she comes to us to bring a special story, an account of a disciple of Jesus who felt who felt that he needed to meet the master, to be with the master. Who doesn't want it? Since today it's a scheduled appointment with Jesus, an encounter with the Christ. We want to ask ourselves whether we would be willing to be in this encounter. Would you like ever to meet, to have a scheduled appointment with Jesus? What do we need to schedule that appointment? You and I know that he is the shepherd of all of us. So we hypothesized based on that our one-on-one relationship with him is in place. On his side, he's always willing to be with us. On our side, what do we need to schedule an appointment with Jesus? And what do we want in that appointment? What do we want to do? Good question, huh? In the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 8, blessed are the pure of the heart, the pure of heart. Item 19, let the children come to me. We have a protector spirit talking about the importance of forgetting about our needs, temporary, materialistic, and focusing on those who are weaker than us. If you have love, you have everything there is to be desired on the earth. You possess the most excellent pearl that neither circumstances nor the evils of those who hate and persecute you will be able to take away. If you have love, you will have put your treasure where worms and rust cannot reach it. And you will see everything that might stain its purity erased from your soul. You will feel the weight of matter grow lighter day by day, and like a bird soaring in the sky with no memory of earth, you will ascend without ceasing. You will ascend forever until your exhilarated soul satiates itself with life in the bosom of the Lord. A protector spirit in Bordeaux, France, 1861. Meimei inspired herself in that message. And today, you and I have the opportunity of her description of a special encounter with the Master, with the Christ. Let's see the password to schedule an appointment, to have a meeting, to have an encounter with the Master. Are you ready? Are we ready? We need to be ready because this is really life-changing. She says to us, when affliction knocked on his door, the disciple took the news from the Lord and read the divine promise, I'll be with you until the end of times. Hope was kindled in his soul. One morning, He went looking for the master, like a stray person in the desert when looking for the fountain of living water. He entered a temple full of sparkling lights where memory was venerated, Jesus' memory. But despite the feeling that faith shone there between reverent chants and devout flowers, he did not find the divine friend there. The disciple sought for Jesus in the vast enclosures, where Jesus' name was pronounced with inflection of supreme respect. But although surprised by the pure teaching, in the words of those who secured golden books, he did not find Jesus' presence. In the exhausting journey, he spent hours. In vain, he crossed shutters, temples, altars, and gardens. The night was falling frigidly when the disciple heard the whining of a sick child, abandoned in the gutter. Kneeling down, the disciple lovingly sheltered the child in the shell of his arms. And when he looked up, he saw Jesus in front of him, and he shouted, "Master, Master!" The supreme benefactor caressed his tired head, like someone expunging all the wounds of anguish. And he compassionately said to the disciple, "My child, I will be with everyone, everywhere, until the end of times. But I live in the heart of charity, in whose light I have an appointment scheduled with all the apprentices of the eternal good." In vain, the disciple tried to hold the Lord against his chest. Through the fog, thick by tears flooding his mute face, the disciple noticed that the celestial vision was diluted in the bluish bright glow of that afternoon sky. But in the acoustics of his inner being, now resounding for him the unforgettable words, "Every time you support one of those little ones for my love, for the love of my name, you will be doing it to me." Do we know the answer now? How can we schedule an appointment with Jesus? By reaching out, by being charitable. And being charitable is not only going after the poor, but also at home. When we silence our needs for the peace of everyone, when we forgive and forget. Charity for us, he says to all of us, that charity is. He is in the heart of charity. So, what is charity? According to Spiritism, we learn that charity is a threefold molecule. Okay, threefold. So we won't forget. Oops. And one more. We need one more. Threefold. It's like a molecule. Think of chemistry. This is the molecule of charity. And Jesus is in the heart of charity. So here we are. And what is in it? You know it, right? Yeah. So first and foremost, what is in there for us? It is benevolence. Benevolence. What else? Indulgence. What else? What else do we need to know? Hmm? The last one, magic word. The magic word, forgiveness. So here we have it. The molecule of charity. Being benevolent towards everyone means volens means willingness. Bene means good. Be of goodwill towards everyone. But are we? No, usually we're not. Because we choose, we pick and choose. I'm going to help you because you're going to give me something. I'm going to help you because you're my family. I'm going to help you because you're my boss. I'm going to help. But we don't have goodwill. For example, when we volunteer, we think we're doing a lot volunteering. Then we put the hours of all our volunteer work, and it's just a tiny bit. And then we create problems for those we say we're going to volunteer. I want to volunteer, but not the way you want me to volunteer, the way I think I should volunteer. That's not charitable. To be benevolent, to be of goodwill is somebody needs soup, we give them soup. Oh, but I think you need steak. No, but the person wants soup. They need soup. We give them soup. Whether we agree or disagree, they need soup. Of course, we're talking about things that are healthy. But are we of benevolent? Or are we still in that pick and choose mode? Then we're not charitable yet. Then the next part of our molecule is being indulgent towards people's imperfections. Indulgence means indulgere, dolce, it means put sugar, sweetness into people's imperfections. In the book Jesus in the Home, we have Jesus himself telling a story about a master who taught the disciple about the gift of understanding, going after people who were rude and rough and aggressive, and showing the behind the scenes of it all, behind the scenes of it all, showing to us that behind an aggressive person, there is a wounded person. Behind an angry person, there is an insecure, threatened person. Behind somebody who is not truly aligned, there is somebody who needs help. So, of course, we need to protect ourselves, but pray. Indulgence begins by praying, by believing in the good. As Mentor Joseph says, and I'm going to use a ruler now to show it to all of us, and I'll be back to this molecule of charity in a minute. Think about this as the timeline of our lives. It's a ruler. Think of a ruler if you're just listening to this at Cardiac Radio. And visualize that we are here at this point of our evolution. But we know that at some point we're going to evolve. We never regress, we always progress. And there's no end to our progress. It's an everlasting progress. How does it happen? Only God knows, but we know it makes sense because God is perfect and He creates us in ways and for things that we're still to discover. So when I see myself making a mistake, I know that that is temporary, not everlasting. When somebody makes a mistake, I can visualize that person past that mistake when they're going to evolve at some other point. Think about people who have addictions. Think about them. They are here. Let us visualize them past that moment because they will. And when we visualize them, then and pray for them, we're strengthening them to move to that moment. This is indulgence too, it's charitable. None of us are doomed to mistakes. None of us. We're all destined, without exception, to the beautiful new day of life. Let's go back to our molecule of charity. And here we have the third part of our molecule, forgiveness. Forgiveness of offenses. People make mistakes. We make mistakes. What are we going to do? Forgive. So we need strategies to forgive and forget. We know that many of us have a hard time forgiving because we feel so insecure that we feel like we have to be defensive and make sure that that person is never going to do it again. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. I don't want this person in my life. I'll never forget what they've done. But deep inside, we're carrying trash because those scenes, experiences are still stored in my mental field. Bad for me, not for them, but for me. How do you want your mental field to be? Free. You don't want to be accumulating negative experiences, offenses, and feeling guarded all the time. No. Our mental field needs to be bright and light. So forgiveness is inevitable. When Jesus is saying that he is at the heart of charity, he is saying that he is within this molecule of charity. When we are good towards somebody without expecting anything returned. When we sweeten people's imperfections, knowing that this is temporary, and then we forgive offense. Is it easy? Of course not. Because at our level of evolution, we're still feeling so fragile, vulnerable, right? That we feel guarded and defensive. One day, we'll realize we don't need that because God is taking care of everything. But the beauty of this passage is this. We're going to ask a question. If you are listening to this and you want to type in your answer, it would be great. Do you think we would find an encounter with Jesus here at Cardiac Radio? Or are these just mere words? When I read this message, I was thinking to myself, where can I find this encounter with the Master when we're here together, for example, at 11 p.m.? Can I encounter the Master here? What would be the answer? It depends, right? It depends on our feelings, on what we're emanating. If we're sending each other loving kindness, supporting each other in our evolution, we are having a meeting with the Christ. A schedule every day at 11 p.m. and every time we have a program at Cardiac Radio. But it's up to us, the inner. Because if I watch surfing the internet, just as if I'm listening, when I go to church or the Spiritist Center and I listen, blah, 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 there's no encounter. But the password to go in is to see each other. I cannot physically see you, but I can feel you. Feel you, whether I pre-recorded or not, because I'm there at 11 p.m. watching the program with you, if it's pre-recorded, of course, feeling our interaction, visualizing our vibrational field together, emanating. This is how we visualize it. We're forming a current of loving light that is emanating light towards others. So I visualize a light of healing towards all of us and emanating from us towards the neighbors in our spiritual network, rescuing those who are in need of help, giving the spiritual bread to those who are in need. So it's much more than the knowledge and the words. It's an exercise of the soul. Now we visualize what happens at that encounter. Let us visualize the body language of Jesus here. When let's observe that the disciple had to humble himself, kneeling down. We won't find the Christ in our pride, but in true humility. When we forget ourselves and think of the benefit of others. So Meimei describes the spiritual attitude of those who will be able to schedule the appointment with Jesus. They have to come out of their self-centeredness, kneel down, and reach out to somebody who is in need. And then Jesus comes, the heart of charity, and he caresses our head. Tired, the disciple was tired. He had anguishes in his heart, like we do. And he not only comes, but he reaches out to us. So let us feel that whenever we forget about our needs and reach out to those who are in need, Jesus is taking care of us. Some people say, but Vanessa, what about my needs? Your wounds of anguish, my wounds of anguish will be resolved by Jesus himself. He will come when we reach out to others, and he will caress our head, tired and anguished, and compassionately will envelop us in his love. He promised he will be with us till the end of times. But today, he extends that by telling us. And that's why we love the Spirit of Truth, because he releases the whole information. It's a direct encounter with God and with Master Jesus. No middleman, he says, every time you support one of the little ones, you do it to me. So today, you and I are being invited to schedule an appointment with Jesus. How are we going to do it? We have 24 hours to find somebody who is in need of help. Forget ourselves, forget our pride, and kneel down. Reach out. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody what you've done. Why? Because it spoils it. It's a very special encounter with the Christ. It's between you and the Christ. If there is pride in it, vanity, it disappears. It has to be in the middle of the night when nobody sees it, in the sense of let's do it without telling people. Help people 24 hours to schedule an appointment through reaching out to someone who is in greater need than us. And by doing so, the disciple was anguished and tired, and he reached out. This is the invitation for us, and what an honor. Isn't it an honor? It's a super honor. So we want to invite you to this moment when we're learning to schedule appointments with the Christ. Thanks to the Spirit of truth, we now know the secret code: charity. Thank you, friends, for being here together at Cardiac Radio. One more time at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls. And today is so special when we learn the secret code to schedule an appointment with the Master. Thank you, friends.